This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. It's fight week. With me at Wasserman HQ, Kalle Sauerland. Kalle, been busy times for you. Spoke to you when you were in Germany last week. London fight week this week. Busy times.
Absolutely. No, it's always nice to have back-to-back fight weeks, and then we go into a few more after this as well. I think we've got a few UK shows planned. We're going to Australia. We've got one in Germany. So, yeah, very much a busy time for us, but that's great. No complaints here. And what a card on Friday night, live on Channel 5. It's going to be an absolute stormer.
Just a word on the main event lineup, Udofia and Denzel-Bentley. Denzel maybe has a bit of a chip on his shoulder from the cash fight. He feels people have written him off a bit too soon. He's been speaking about wanting to win by knockout on Friday. Is that what you sense being around him? This is a guy that wants to prove a point?
I think both do. And, I said there's no beef, but at the same time there's all the beef, but the right beef. Between them, and you've got the respect is there. They both referred to the fact that we knew this fight was coming years ago, so they can't say they were unprepared and they didn't know how the opponent was. And I believe that someone will be someone's stepping stone on Friday night.
Interesting you said someone will be someone's stepping stone. It's a great honour in its own right to be British champion, but talk to me a bit about the rewards that come on top of that as well. World rankings, big fights away the winner.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the British title's a fantastic belt. It's been kept so pure over the years, and the Lonsdale belt, I really have it up there as one of my favourite belts, simply because it's of the purity of fights and the amount of superstars that have won that belt on the way. Look, the middleweights are scorching. No doubt you'll ask me about that in a few minutes, about the middleweight situation. And hey, the winner of this goes right into that mix. Got to talk about our guy, Linus, 17-0. Would put him, if he comes through on Friday, 18-0. He's a couple of fights away from a world title. And that can come sometimes a bit quicker than you expect. It's step by step, but it's such a springboard Friday night to take them to that world level.
Just a word on Josh Kelly. When I spoke to Josh, he told me if I didn't believe I could still be world champion, I wouldn't be here. He's obviously got the first fight back on Friday, but how fast do you kind of want to move him if all is well on Friday?
Well, if I didn't believe he would be world champion, I wouldn't have signed him. I can tell him that as well. He knows that though. We're not in a rush. I've said it before. With Josh, we will talk after the fight at the press conference, you and me, about who he could fight next. And there's the Florian Marcus, the Conor Benns, there's the big one for up north or the northeast, with Lewis Ritson. So there's lots of options, but we're not thinking past Reynoso on Friday night. Josh has been out a while, so he'll be looking to put on a golden performance. I called him my golden boy, so looking forward to a golden performance.
Kalle, a lot has happened in the last few days since you and I spoke. We talked about Canelo-Bivol before the fight.
I got that one absolutely stinking wrong. It was with you, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I said, no. You said, what are the chances? I said, none. Yes, egg on my face on that one. My defence, quickly. I saw Bivol only once live against Richards, and it shows how good Richards is as an awkward opponent. I'm interested to see that Boazzi fight, by the way. But it also shows how great a sport we have when we just, we're so-called, Kalle Sauerland, so-called expert of boxing, and he calls that one wrong. That's fantastic, isn't it? And how wrong I called it. I must admit, we had the show in Cologne on Saturday night, and I woke up just in time for the fight, I thought, but it was already the sixth round. And I watched it in Italian, bizarrely, so I had no idea what happened up to that point. I didn't give him a single round, not a single round from the sixth round on. So the judges' scorecards all the same. I mean, that is highly suspicious, but I'll put it down to it that it looked different when you were close up, or maybe I missed the first 6 rounds and he won all 6. I don't know. I haven't seen the first 6 rounds yet, but it was a very clear victory, and throws everything up now. I mean, he called him, said straight away in the ring, he's going to activate that rematch clause. That, of course, put me on red alert, jumped up, started making calls, 7 a.m. German time, roughly, which is about 11 Vegas time. And, of course, put our name right in there, and spoke with Junior in the morning, alerted him. It's exciting. And a day before we heard that the Kell Brook fight had broken down, which I told you about on the Friday, and then he went out and announced his retirement 24 hours later. I don't think there was any coincidence in that from my interview, but congrats to Kell Brook, great career. What I would say is it shows how fast moving it is. We have a lot of different strategies around the belts. We're also looking at the fight with Dignam and Janapai, of course, on the 21st, which is currently interim WBO, but I expect that to be upgraded to a full WBO title. And I've got Charlo's out against Selecki, so the belts are sort of, they're interesting, and commercially speaking, Chris Eubank Jr. is the most interesting opponent at middleweight for anyone, including Golovkin outside the Canelo fight. There's no more interesting commercial fight for him than fighting Junior, fill up any stadium in the UK with that and break some records along the way. So we'll watch, but we'll also be acting in the background.
So I was going to come on to, the fact that Canelo and Bivol are likely to fight again gives Gennady Golovkin needing a dance partner. You said 7 a.m. you're already on the phone to people. Did those calls kind of get anywhere?
I just basically find out what the exact situation is. It's one thing to say in the ring after the fight, I'm doing the rematch. You have to put that in writing. Normally it's 3-4 weeks after a fight that you have to do that within, that you activate the rematch clause. I don't think they would have done that on the night. I think they'll go back and look at it. Canelo and Eddie Reynoso will look at it, and will they think, like many do, it was a weight too far? And then they still do the Golovkin fight. So it's a little bit it's all in Canelo's hands, so to speak, contractually at the moment, as I understand it. If I put the puzzles together of where I got with my investigations, and but yeah, I have to do that as Junior's promoter.
Last one, as you mentioned, we spoke about Eubank Brook negotiations, and then a day later, Kell Brook announced that he'd retired from professional boxing. Just one quick word on Kell Brook, a fantastic career to be proud of, and a right time to walk away, a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, I think Kell has had a career that people dream about. He's fought everywhere in the world. He's fought the best. Went out on a high. So from that point of view, I've got only the biggest respect for Kell Brook. I don't know who the boxer stroke Sky side we're talking to in the Kell Brook camp. I don't know why we dicked around with weights for 2 months for the fight. It was pretty clear to me it was going to be about money. We were messing around with weights for far too long. I think Kell's last interview at the Josh Taylor fight, if I remember correctly, the exact words were "show me the money," and we were talking about weights. That's an interesting one.
Right, Kalle, busy day, lots of media to do, so we'll leave it there. Thank you as always, speaking of Boxing Social.